Welcome to it once again. This is Extreme Sports Action, and my name is Nehemiah Chacha, Mr. Live to Inspire. And as always, it is a brand new episode and the month of November, and we always add it with all the latest updates and interviews with athletes and the cool news in the culture of extreme sports. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles found on your screen, and all our previous episodes are live streamed right here on esatv.co.za and tv.visionview.co.za. Round about now, we should straight to all the news for today. All right, first up on our news, the one-on-one breaking competition. It is the Red Bull BC1 Battle is back for the 17th edition of the 2020 World Final rather. And for the first time, it will be in Austria in a city called Salzburg on November the 28th. Now, 8 B-boys and 8 B-girls will be batting it out for the competition title. And all you have to do, you can check it out on all the Red Bull platforms on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and Red Bull TV. Now, moving right along to the next news, Bloemfontein's double header, which is the Cannabis Energy SA National Cross Country Championship finale, had great cliffhangers rather, and 9 new South African cross moto champions. Now, these are as follows. We have Tristan Prudon is the 2020 SA MX1 champion, and Anthony Rayner, the MX2 title. We also have Ian Topless with the MX3 title. We also have Kyla Ruff is the SA Ladies Championship on the motocross. And we have Jonathan Mlimi took the 25cc high school title, and Bryce Peterson, the under 15 85cc pro. And then we have Liam Buertha, under 13 85cc junior. We also have Neil van der Vever is the under 11 65cc champion, and Trenton Kritzman took the baby 50cc town. Now that's a wrap with the COVID-shortened 2020 SA Motocross Championship. For more information and updates on the Cannabis Cannabis Energy SA National Motocross Championship, is very simple. You can go through to our platform at esatv.co.za. As we move right along, the Spaniard Espargaro excelled in Saturday qualifying to secure pole on his Red Bull KTM factory racing bike. However, could not match the better pace of Suzuki's Japan's Takaki put on a strong performance, and for Honda to chase down Espargaro, but he left just too late and finished the best independent finisher for the LCR. And Portuguese Miguel Oliveira moved into 4th early on and ended with Australian Jack Miller just behind the 6th South African Brad Bender, producing late Red Bull KTM factory racing surge to pip Ducati's Andrea and France's Johan Zarco for 7th. And these are the current standings for the MotoGP Grand Prix of European results, and they are as follow. It's the Espargaro's 4th podium this season in a classy year that now sees him up to 7th in the standings. And Petronas Yamaha's Fabio Quartararo started 14 points behind Mir in the title race, but the Frenchman went down on the opening lap along to Apilas Alex Espargaro. And Quartararo was the only rider to win the races this season, finishing 14th place. But his title hopes are all over, and with the gap to Mir now 37 points. Now the South African National Cross Country Series, which is the ACCS, ended on a high note with Toyota Gazoo of the Racing SA in the Val of the 400, which took place on Sunday the 24th of October in Paris in the Free State. And it goes as follows. The Toyota Gazoo Racing SA Val 400 was the 5th and final round of a shortened season. It kicked off with a 14-kilometer period qualifying race early in the morning to determine the starting order for the main race, where the teams had to complete a 168-kilometer loop twice. Now, Henk Latigan and Britt Cummings of Toyota Gazoo Racing Hilux claimed their 4th overall victory of the season as the FIA class winners, and Janelle De Phyllis and Alex Haro came in 2nd. Chris Visser and Danny Stassen of the Total Exilum Toyota Hilux finished in 4th, and Gareth Woolrich and Boyd Dreyer of Ford Castrol Cross Country Ranger topped up for the top 5. All right, to find out more on the South African National Cross Country Series, it's very simple. Just visit esatv.co.za. Moving right along, the 53rd edition of the Mother of Hard Enduro has been postponed until 2021. Now, the Lesotho government and the Lesotho Sports and Recreation Department have announced on all media that the country has to remain in a lockdown level 3. This means that the confirmed date for next year's event will be the 3rd to the 6th of November 2021. And for more information, including advice on how to carry over the entry and of course to get all those refunds, it's very simple. Info at roofofafrica.co.ls, and you can also visit the official Moto Roof of Africa website for more information. It's roofofafrica.co.ls. Now, the MotoGP season heads for its 3-race back-to-back climax of the film, a new film of Brad Binder, now becoming 33. It's a story of young South African motorcyclist racer who became both of his country's first ever Red Bull KTM winner and of course the MotoGP winner in his first season as a rookie. Now, how cool is that? Now, Binder, the 25-year-old just outside of Johannesburg, was born into a MotoGP family, and since 2022 he claimed historic victory in the 3rd round of the season of the Bruno of the Czech Republic. Now, at the same time, little known was beyond racing cycles about young outsider shaking up the grid in a sport usually dominated by Europeans, and this South African has really outdone himself. Now, the documentary available exclusive to Red Bull TV on the 5th of November 2020, and the best viewing experience for the film is on Red Bull Apple TV. Now, we're going straight to all the fall-throughs as we wrap up the news for today. Hey man, Brad Grief must have an epic fail. Those are all the fall-throughs for today, but don't forget, if you want your videos to be featured on the show, it's very simple. Submit your videos to the link found on your screen. As promised, our first interview for the episode, we have the one and only photographer for motorsports industry, as well as a light painting specialist and portrait. So wherever you will find motorsport event, you go in South Africa. And of course, he's been doing a lot for the SupaDrift Series. And today in studio, I have the one and only Darren Townsley, right?
Yes, how's it going?
AKA Darren Supafly.
Yes, correct. How you doing, bud?
Awesome, and welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great stuff, man. I just want us to shoot straight your love for motorsport as a photographer.
Well, it stems back many years, but photography was about 9 years ago in 2011, and I was at the Top Gear show at Kyalami, and I'd actually borrowed a friend's Nikon at the time, and fell in love with the motorsport and capturing it.
Was there ever a time where you wanted to find yourself actually in the car and doing all those stunts?
So, I mean, yes, but unfortunately I wasn't born with the set skills of the driving, like Jim and Mike and stuff like that. Although I'm the same size as Jim, I don't fit in the cars like they do, you know what I mean?
You have the look too.
I do, yes, yeah.
Townsley, man, your surname Townsley. We just had a bit of a talk earlier on.
Yes, yeah.
Hailing from Scotland, right? Just tell us a bit about your background.
Okay, so the folks, they're from Scotland. I was actually born in Windhoek in Namibia, and then moved to South Africa when I was about 9 years old. Been up and down between Johannesburg and Cape Town, and lived in Miami for about a year. And the motorsport scene there as well is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You got Daytona Beach just down the road, but back then I didn't have the facilities to actually capture it. So.
Yeah. You've been around, man.
Yeah, you could say that, and not just in size, but yeah. So I've been fortunate enough to travel overseas with photography, with the likes of Jason Webb, and of course with Monster. We went through to Gutbull in Rishken in 2016. We did a full road trip from Amsterdam all the way up through Europe and into Norway. Yeah,
must have been an experience, man. AKA Darren Supafly. Supafly Photography and Design. So tell us a bit more about that company of yours.
All right, so Supafly, as you know, the word means what it is.
Yeah,
it's,
man.
It's super, it's fly, it's cool, it stands out. And yeah, so like I said, I've been doing the motorsport photography for a long time. For about 6 years, I worked with Speed and Sound magazine. I did a lot of their photography, but like I said, it all started with SupaDrift. And I've been with SupaDrift for about 9 years, being their official photographer, learned from the likes of Chad Lukov and guys like that, and then just been traveling with them ever since then.
What's the one camera piece that you would never live without?
Yeah, obviously the camera is very important. I'd love to one day own a 1DX, like Larry Chen, Machine Gun Larry. But unfortunately in South Africa those come in just under 100,000 Rand for a camera, and everybody knows in motorsport South Africa there isn't really the finances for it, unless because you've got rich background or you've sponsors or good credit record or Canon. But yeah, so it would be the camera body obviously, and then of course in sports photography you want your 7200, an f2.8 or an f4.5, so you can stand on the sidelines and capture that motion. Yeah.
And then in terms, since you do photography, right, of course, and design as well, are you branching into videography, and are you propelled to get into the, or you cool with your niche?
No, look, I enjoy my niche, but I do videography as well. Slowly getting the hang of it. Just recently, before I left Speed and Sound, we went to the video mag. So for every feature, there was a video that was with it. So that's where I started getting more and more with the videography. And of course, I like to do our night runs. So I did a full Jap night run where I had a selected few Evos, Mitsubishis, R34s, Vic Podell joined me, everything like that. And we just ran through the streets of Joburg midnight and we shot that, Joe.
I'm not mistaken. Let's talk about your car and the design.
Yes. So,
what inspired that?
What inspired that? Fast and Furious, Need for Speed, Hashe. So Hashe is the anime. It's a Japanese style where you got to go bold and you've got these anime characters in that, and that's where Supafly graphics actually started many years down in Cape Town. And I had a little Opel Gamma, and I had anime chicks on the side and stuff like that. So that's where my love for design and vehicle wrapping and that started.
Man, you're the greatest body of art that you have, created, that you could just think on the spot right now.
The greatest, it would have to, not to be biased, it would always have to be my car. I change it up all the time. At the moment I drive a one-of-a-kind car in South Africa, but one of the 80% of the cars that drift in SupaDrift I've done the liveries for. So each one is a art in motion. But just recently I was commissioned by a chap in Germany to do a livery for him. So each livery I do is my next greatest one.
Hey man, it's post-lockdown, right? And I think things are coming back, but virtually as well. So what's the plan for Darren Supafly right now, and what are we looking forward to in 2021?
Well, right now I've branched off and I started my own company called the Supafly Company with my business partner, and we do events, photography, I do apparel, I do livery designs, everything like that. But I'll all stick with SupaDrift. That was my entry into my home. With Mike, Jim, and the whole team, I love it. So the drift scene for me is more exciting than say like drag racing. Track racing, it's fun, but it's monotonous. But MotoGP, FX, all that kind of stuff that's instant, that it only lasts for a second, but you got to capture the moment. That's what I love.
Anything that lasts for a second, but make sure you do capture the moment. Darren Supafly right here on ESA TV. Going straight to all the highlights for today. All right, first on our highlights for today, Feld Entertainment Inc. has announced the 2021 Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship season.
The Monster Energy AMA Supercross into the skies of the Space City, Houston, Texas. To one of the world's greatest racing cities, Indianapolis, Indiana, inside the Lucas Oil Stadium. Conditions have welcomed the racers into the desert here in Glendale, Arizona, State Farm Stadium. Here they come, the crowd on their feet at Daytona, they're Baltimore. Could this be the night? They take each other down. Oh, man, he's got it. Back inside here at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Big crowd on hand tonight, and they're seeing some.
Don't forget ticket sales on early December as Supercross fans are welcome back into the stadiums, obviously under restricted COVID-19 regulations. And for the second consecutive year, the season will include Utah, which is the state of the art sport. And the next up on the highlights, we have South African legend Greg Minnaar has produced a vintage performance to bank his 22nd UCI Mountain Bike World Cup victory, and on Friday the 30th of October 2020.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years now that I've been trying to battle these Frenchies. I had Danny Hart give them a few jabs last year. Matt Walker's up there now and finally able to topple them for once. It's a great feeling. But I think, jokes aside, it's a good feeling. You know, I think all year round we've had a pretty tough year. You know, this virus going around, and I was in lockdown in South Africa, and I think this would just hopefully give hope to all the guys back there and positivity around the world.
All right, Minnaar wrapped up the record of the 22nd win and now leading Virger overall by 14 points ahead of Saturday, the 1st of November 2020 finale. Now, as we move right along, the American Tyler Berryman added another big win to his free ride motocross resume, and when he edged out compatriot Colby Raha to claim the inaugural Red Bull Imagination competition around the rolling hills of Kansas.
Red Bull Imagination is pretty much my imagination built out of dirt. We're always like the imagine if we could, you know, leave a course and have this here, have this here, and have this here. Well, this is the imagine if. This whole place is a dream track and built by Dream Tracks himself. So
I've been looking at this property. I built a track out here for Adam LaRoche, I think 5 or 6 years ago now, and I've had my eye on this property for that long, and Tyler and I literally just came out to the tower and just sat up on the tower one afternoon, and he just kind of started giving me the bucket list items of the jumps and features that he wanted to see. I started looking at the dirt and the contours, and we just came up with a design and a layout that fit.
Definitely feeling good about it after the biggest thing. I just wanted to get through it in one piece. This is a really technical jumps, and we had a lot of issues with dealing with weather and wind all week, so we had limited riding time with small windows of opportunity to ride. So yeah, I think this is a good place to start, and hopefully we can build on it and bring it back and come back for round 2.
All right, do keep your fingers locked in for that on esatv.co.za for more information. As we move right along to Murray Lobster is a BMX street sensation in his native land, South Africa, and has combined with his mentor, former rider and Red Bull photographer Wayne Reach to create a hypnotic Cape Town video with shapes in their city. Check that out.
The idea for Shapes in the City kind of spontaneously happened with Wayne Raichi and myself.
Yeah, Shapes started off just as me noticing some similarities or constant characteristics in my photos. Pitched the idea to Red Bull as a stills project. They liked the idea.
And then they turned it into a video, which is pretty cool. I would say the most daunting part about shooting this video was the fact that I could get injured in the beginning of it and then it all get scrapped. So that definitely weighed on my mind. The best part of having a BMX crew film it and just be part of it was obviously just they understood what I was doing, and we had a friendship before, so it was just good vibes. But yeah, I feel like because they knew how to film BMX before going into it, they knew how to make it look that much better. The most technical location I would say was the Sea Point rail. We got there super early in the morning and it was full of dew. So the rail was wet, my tires were wet, and we had to wait for the dew to dry before I could try the trick. And then the trick itself was also really technical. I had to hop and land with my tires on the rail and then ride down and do a bar spin off. And just like everything wasn't working, there were cars and pedestrians, and it just was crazy, but it worked out in the end, so I was stoked and everyone was stoked. My favorite spot to ride in Shapes was the Castle Triangle. There's this crazy, just like super unique setup. And obviously I'd never normally be able to ride that like outside of shooting. So it was really cool to ride that, and the run-in, we had to build in this like whole plyboard run-in as well. So definitely something I would never be able to ride, and now I got to ride it and it was so fun. It was perfect, like so good.
All in all, like super stoked with how the project turned out. I mean, it sort of just snowballed into this sort of entity that was way bigger than I ever imagined it to be. When I first came up with the idea, it was literally just going to be me and Murray shooting some things around the city in our own time. Just earmarked a few locations, going to hop a fence or two, just really like that core BMX. And yeah, it just got way bigger, and all of a sudden it's like a full-on production. You know, you've got agencies and clients involved, and But it was rad. It's like it got it across the line. It was pretty full on. I had to hustle a lot, like a lot. I was absolutely shattered by the end of the project, but it was rad. Yeah, I like it.
All right, we can see more of the South Africans and Red Bull doing videos like this. It's very simple. All you have to do is just watch Shapes in the City on the Red Bull TV. And next up, we have the one and only interview for the second part of the show. All right, it is time now for the next interview for the episode. And what most consider as chaos and loud noise, Wheelz and Smoke is considered rather a platform for spinners to be turned into athletes. And in studio with me right now over video call, I have the one and only one of the co-founders of Wheelz and Smoke, Monde Hashe, with me. How are you doing, sir?
I'm blessed, man. Thank you. How are you?
Great, thank you, man. Thank you for joining us, yeah?
I'm honored to be with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for honoring, man. And I'd love to just shoot straight and ask you this question. How did Wheelz and Smoke come about?
Man, wow. You're taking me back now, and it's a question that has been answered, more than 1 million times in spinning. But Wheelz and Smoke came about because there was a need. Precisely, there was a need for a legal or a safely approved or accredited spinning arena generally in South Africa, because there was no one. So the reason for Wheelz and Smoke's existence was to put itself as a benchmark or as a brand that position itself as something that most people look up at by means of meeting the regulations, cleaning up spinning from what it was long then. So that's why Wheelz and Smoke is here, man, to grab platform to up-and-coming youngsters, people who wants to spin or who dream about becoming spinners as athletes or spinners for commercial purposes, because spinning now has become that. Thank you. I hope I have answered you.
Most definitely, man. Very interesting, I must say. And what has been some of the challenges that you face in the culture of spinning?
Challenges is always the stigma that spinning has been attached to for all these years. Something that we have cleaned up now, and it's something that we shouldn't be talking about anymore. We have went past that stage long ago. Spinning is clean, spinning is sport. We should be talking about how we can take spinning further to become a world or internationally recognized sport together with our government. Those challenges that you're taking me back to, it's sad because I'm going to come back to you as media. I'm going to go back to our government. I'm going to hit hard to everyone else, because people only have interest to spinning when it is now clean. When spinning was still dirty, no one wanted to listen to us or interview us like you are doing today. No one wants to attach themselves with this sport called spinning today. But here we have it cleaned up after hard sweat, after tears, after death threats and everything. It is what it is today. So those were the challenges, man. We are still here because our government is doing nothing about it. Media is doing nothing about it. People are coming from overseas, are taking it to make it a formal sport. Then they will come and sell it to you like they have been doing all this time, which is the system we live in. I don't want to mention race, but I guess it's been the system that we were born in for all these years. Thank you.
And I can imagine when I put him on there, because I mean we've seen the culture in movies, international movies. We've seen the culture for international celebrities, and as young people, we grew up seeing that, and I love the point you've pressed, and I believe that, and I hope that, more and more people who are watching the show definitely could embrace the sport, and especially what it has done, for young people, who are out of the streets. Young people now have a hobby to do, and more beyond that. I mean, today, some of us are even starting to celebrate the sports, but we don't see, the challenges behind the scenes. And I mean, speaking of those challenges, how can sponsors, this being a platform ESA, how can sponsors be educated about the South African spinning industry and more so support the culture?
The only way to do that is, like you mentioned, someone has to, I think, either from media, I'm talking now about SABC or SuperSport or all these big channels. I understand there is Ignition and they are doing so great for spinning. And I would like to think they are contributing towards the success of spinning and to what it is today. We need that more often, on radios, television, everything. We must talk about it on a daily basis, you know what I mean? And we need to engage with government departments, a minister of sport. That's where we need to start at, so that a mandate can be sent to the subordinates or the people at low, so that they can listen to us to lift the sport up, because we are very low now currently. And sponsorships are not a big deal. It's not a brain, it's not something that you have to crack your brain about. They are here. They want now spinning. It's a matter of them working together with spinning, not wanting to come and dictate and do as they please because they are big brands. We're not going to allow that. So maybe it could be one of the reasons why spinning is still here, because now that is clean. They just want to come and take and go and leave us like we were before, or even worse than what we were before.
I can imagine it, Monde, and I mean, at one moment I thought this interview, we are going to, joke and speak about spinning, but I love how the interview has turned into, and I think as ESA TV, one of the proud advocates for extreme sports, we are advocating, we are chanting for, spinning, and that's why we want to have those conversations. I think one day we'll have like a sort of like a round table and bring some of the sponsors and maybe, government officials and people, stakeholders of sports and recreation onto the show, and we can have just a segment where we can just touch base on this. But I'd love to ask you, sir, why do you prefer spinning a Skyline as opposed to a BMW?
I feel more comfortable in a Skyline, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, BMW is a very good spinning car. I give all the credit to it. All these other cars, are just a complementary way of, making spinning shine. It's not a spinning car, it's a drifting car. So it's not a car that you can partake into competitions using. Moreover, spinning competition. So owning Wheelz and Smoke as a facility and also as a brand, it's just a matter of us looking, shiny. There's nothing specific or better than a BMW. I just feel more comfortable into it. Thank you.
All right, and you have contributed so much to spinning community. Do we ever see spinning having its own league? And what happened to the Spin Inc?
Its own league, yes, it's going to happen soon. Spin Inc. is still there. It's a brainchild of Wheelz and Smoke. It's a matter of us putting it to place when we are ready. So yes, it's something that is still in the pipeline. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Monde. We thank you so much for taking your time and being with us today. All the best.
Thank you, sir. All the best to you too.
Definitely. This is Extreme Sports Action, man. We always advocate for such a sports culture within South Africa. With that being said, we're going straight to the turnout. And that's just about it, man. Shout out to all the athletes who have those tricks. Big up to them, man. I know it's quite difficult. With that being said, if you want your videos to be featured on the show, it's very simple. Do submit them to the link found on your screen. With that being said, my name is Nehemiah Chacha, Mr. Live to Inspire. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. That's ESA TV and, of course, tv.visionview.co.za. That's where you'll find also the previous episodes that are live streamed on those handles I've just mentioned. Until next week, you know what it is, Extreme Sports Action.